In this season of emergence from the pandemic, never before have we sensed such an urgent need to help churches to rebuild. And here we talk to Romi from Dwarka Community Church in New Delhi, India, on building a discipleship nation. Hi Romi, can you share with us the life cycle of a congregation at your church?
So the life cycle of the congregation or a church member in the Dwarka Community Church is like this. The church itself is we focus a lot on relationship. Being relational is one of our core values. So we lay a lot of focus on being relational. So once the person starts attending the church, for example, then we kind of invite them to our cell group, small groups. Once you are inducted in a cell group, you become more comfortable, the comfort level increases, and then that's slowly how we induct them into the main church. So once they're into the main church, and we involve them depending on their activities, how regular they are, how committed they are, we kind of give them small responsibilities depending on, it could be voluntary responsibilities of just welcoming the congregation, welcoming the church member as they come in to serve tea, so on and so forth. That ways they could connect with us, okay? So they could feel at home that ways.
What are the courses offered in your church?
At the base is Alpha. When we have a new member, we introduce them to Alpha first, and then an Alpha course. Once the person is finished doing an Alpha course, then they're moved on to a foundation course. Depending on their availability, depending on their commitment level, and depending on obviously their capabilities also of serving in the church, we move them to the dynamic leadership course as well. In the foundation course, it is more or less the basics again of Christian faith, slightly more deeper than Alpha. Once we gaze that, if a person is good enough to lead us in the church, for example, maybe in different kind of roles, it could be a youth leader, it could be a worship leader, so on and so forth. Then we move them into dynamic leadership course. Dynamic leadership course is more deeper, it's more intense. It is a 5 months course, and in there we talk about mission, we talk about Jesus, and we talk about the lithics and also how to preach, and we really talk about mission of a church, and mission as a Christian as well. Mission trip also, which is planned in the end of the course. So we will be going out in an outstation in a rural area where we will be serving as missionaries. So it's basically an exposure of how does a missionary, what is the life of a missionary? How do they really, a real-time experience kind of a thing? How are they exposed in outskirts rural areas where there are a lot of persecution also happening, especially in India right now. So to have a taste and understanding of how a mission leader actually serves.
How do you encourage your congregation to take on the courses?
It is difficult. It's not an easy process, and there has to be intentional discipleship involved. In our cell groups, we study something called the CBR, which is called the Community Bible Reading App. So we study that every single day, and every single member is encouraged to kind of share their reflections every single day. And then when we meet, we also study a book together. It's not a teaching kind of a thing, but we're just coming out and discussing what are our reflections. That way we kind of encourage one another. There is an intentional, it has to be casual, but intentional discipleship which is there. We have a follow-up team also in the church. We have a church attendance sheet and also the cell group attendance sheet, which comes to us and which is like circulated to all the ministry leaders. I kind of download the whole thing by the midweek and share it with a follow-up group. Who are the members who have skipped church for 3? If the person has skipped church for 3 consecutive services, then we kind of make them an intentional call, checking out on them. So this kind of a follow-up process is also in place. So when you're calling them, then they also get to know, they're really concerned about us. They're really checking whether we're attending or not. So that there's this consciousness from them as well that, if I cannot be missing too many services unless there's a pressing issue or an emergency, yes. So.
How do you envision churches to emerge in this hybrid season?
We must seize this opportunity of, this online thingy. Pastor Rupak got in touch with me, and then I said, why don't we start an Alpha course? So I did an Alpha course, AFS. I ran an AFS, which was a success. He invited me for a marriage course. I attended the marriage course. I assisted another marriage course with him. So it was like time well utilized. I took advantage of the situation. So for me, I really like online because doing online, they may not be that personal touch, but you can be efficient. You can have optimum utilization of time, resources, and resources and efforts as well. So we must seize this opportunity and capitalize on this online thingy which is available, and